G'day everyone, it's Daniel. I'm sick and have the flu at the moment, so let's get into something that I've been wanting to make a video on for about a month, which is, can a pregnant or breastfeeding mother smoke or use cannabis in any way? No. Okay, fine, I'll give a proper breakdown. So, the three bad faith arguments I put up at the start of the video, we'll go through a bit of etymology and a bit of history first, so that we can understand why these people are either really, really stupid or just really making bad faith arguments to suit some sort of agenda they have. So, cannabinoid does refer to cannabis. In the 1960s, they isolated THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, the active psychoactive component of the cannabis plant. We found that before we found what system of the body it attacks. Now, the THC attacks the endocannabinoid system. We just called it the endocannabinoid system because we found THC attacks it. It does not mean that your body produces weed. It's just this is the part of the body that if you smoke cannabis or ingest cannabis or anything like that, this is the part of the body that the active component, the THC, is going to attack. It has nothing to do with making your own cannabis or anything like that. So it is misleading when they're saying our body produces cannabinoids, as in produces something like cannabis, because our body absolutely does not produce cannabis. That's like saying we have opioid receptors, therefore our bodies produce heroin and that sort of thing. No, that's not how it works at all. So with many drug addicts, and especially with stoner advocates, that sort of thing, this is where we'll get a lot of misinformation, is from things like, oh, but the body already produces cannabinoids. It produces two very specific endocannabinoids, as we classify them, anandamide and 2-AG. Anandamide basically controls pain, appetite, mood, that sort of thing, sleep. It controls those sorts of signals. And 2-AG more or less just controls communication with the brain and that sort of stuff. They have nothing to do with getting stoned or anything like that. What happens is THC attacks the receptors that these two cannabinoids are going to, and more or less it just hijacks them. And that's why you feel high, that's why you can go to sleep quicker. The problem is, I just said anandamide controls mood, right? Well, THC in high doses, especially when we're talking about infants, actually can induce paranoia. You've probably seen your stoner mates when they get really, really high. They could get really anxious or really paranoid. Well, this is what's going to happen to babies, and babies won't know how to deal with it. There's all sorts of problems too, like the CYP enzymes in the liver that a human uses to clear out things like cannabis. Well, babies don't really have those yet. They've got the enzymes, but they're tiny. They're underdeveloped. They don't have the capacity to clear out drugs yet. So is there actually a risk of passing the psychoactive drug THC to your child? Absolutely there is. If you're pregnant, well, that's inherent. You're sharing the same blood while you're pregnant. But if you are breastfeeding, THC is quite lipophilic. It likes fat. What is in breast milk? Lots of fat. So yes, it will stay in your fat, and it will go into the breast milk, and it will go into the baby. Now, if someone wants to turn around and say, but you can't prove any impairment, well, you should be sort of thankful that science has brought in ethical rules. I would have crushed it as a scientist back in the 70s, back where there were no real ethical rules. Because back then you could probably get away with something like, I want to get 10 neonatal kids, babies, I want to expose them to THC and see what happens. Now, if I tried to suggest that to Southern Cross Uni down the road, they would probably refer me to the Office of the Children's Guardian, and rightly so. Going, yeah, this guy should have nothing to do with kids ever. So yes, we don't have an experiment to show what's going to happen to babies that are exposed to THC, because it would be extremely unethical to go and get a bunch of babies high on cannabis and see what happens. What we can see is mothers that have breastfed while they are using cannabis, or have smoked cannabis while they're pregnant, their babies have all sorts of issues not immediately apparent. These are issues that appear a good 5 to 10 years later. And a lot of it is to do with psychiatric and also to do with mood and appetite. So to summarize, no, you cannot use cannabis of any form, not even CBD oil, while you are pregnant or breastfeeding. It has too much of an impact on the endocannabinoid system of a developing baby, and it's just going to put the baby at risk. So do not do it. You're an idiot if you're doing it. Cut it out. I'm a very fair and balanced person. My general philosophy with drugs is you're entitled to fuck your own life up however you choose, but when you put other people at risk, that is when I will step in and say you're a bloody idiot. So when you are drug driving, drink driving, or when you're doing drugs around kids or exposing kids to drugs, that's where I'll step in and say you're an idiot, you should have nothing to do with kids. Other than that, thank you for watching.